Wow, what a crazy day in the Premier League, and in particular, the Premier League title race. And it was going so well for me as a Manchester United fan until I blinked when I was laughing and going, "Ooh, the title race is wide open," and Liverpool score 2 goals in about 2 minutes. And Liverpool showed City and they showed Arsenal today what it takes to be title contenders. It starts off with Arsenal losing 1-0 to Newcastle, and I have to say, Arsenal were really poor, deserved win for Newcastle. Manchester City, I think, have been poor in the last 3 or 4 games. I think Man City have been pretty bad lately and got away with it. You know, John Stones' last minute winner, dodgy goal. City dropped points, and their hate watch along is going so well. And then Liverpool produce. And I think, you know what, it wasn't the prettiest win Liverpool are going to get, but that might be the 3 most important points Liverpool could get this season because they've taken advantage of their rivals dropping points. If your rivals drop points in the title race, you could play the worst football in the world, but as long as you get the 3 points, that's all that matters. And considering that Brighton are such a difficult and tough team to beat, Brighton are now 7th in the Premier League, but had they won, they would have been up there in 3rd. I think many Liverpool fans will be happy with that. Brighton were fantastic in the first half. You see the quality of Brighton in that first half, but Liverpool came out in the second half. Curtis Jones, Joe Gomez, even Endo. The substitutions for Liverpool were absolutely incredible. I'm going to break down the match. I want to talk about Salah, Trent, Tsimikas. I want to talk about Liverpool's midfield. I want to talk about Jones. I want to talk about Gomez. I want to talk about Gakpo. I will break down the game in a second, but I think the talk is the title race because this match, you know, it might have not been the prettiest Liverpool performance, but my Liverpool mate is going crazy. My mate, the supporter, was absolutely going crazy because he knows that Liverpool are now top. They're 2 points above City. They are now 7 points ahead of Arsenal. Arsenal have got some catching up to do. And I think Liverpool have always been sort of wrote off in this title race. It's always been seen as this Arsenal City title race. And I think Liverpool have announced themselves to the Gary Nevilles and the Sky Sports pundits that have been doubting themselves, saying, yeah, Arne Slot may have not got a transfer window. Arne Slot may be new, but do not rule Liverpool out this title race because Manchester City are nowhere near the best this season. They've lost Rodri. I've watched City this season, nowhere near the best. I don't think Liverpool played their absolute best in this game. I don't think Liverpool played their absolute best versus Arsenal last week. But Liverpool have looked better, and I'm saying this as a Manchester United fan. On the eye, Liverpool are top. The underlying numbers put them top of the league as well. The statistics put them top of the league, but they have looked better than Arsenal and they have looked better than City this season. And I still think there's more to come from Liverpool. They'll probably have a January transfer the winner with investment. If I'm Liverpool owners right now, I'm thinking spend money in January because City aren't at their best. Arsenal have dropped off. I would be saying if I was Liverpool owner, that is time to smash some cash because Slot hasn't been fully backed. So you have to give Slot credit because Arne Slot is the first ever Liverpool manager to win 8 of his first 10 top flight matches. The loss was against Forest, who are in 3rd place. Nottingham Forest are incredible this season. I did not expect that. I don't think anyone did. But they're giving me FPL points, so thank you, Forest. And then they drew to, obviously, Arsenal. You draw to Arsenal at the Emirates, and then you lose to Forest. When you drop points, it's not even been too bad. But what I noticed about Slot, and I think this person puts it into better words than me, is he's adapting tactically because Liverpool in that second half were a lot better and they weren't good in the first half. I was like, yes, come on, Brighton. Come on, Brighton. What a performance from Brighton. But it's like the Ipswich game. Slot just makes some changes. Substitutions making an impact. If the subs are making an impact, the manager knows what he's doing. I think there's been question marks around Liverpool's depth compared to City, compared to Arsenal. And I think on paper, Arsenal and City have better depth than Liverpool. But when Jones and Gomez are coming off the bench and putting in absolute shifts, I think Liverpool can say, you know what? You got decent depth. Anyway, let me read this out. Slot switches tactics according to game state more than Klopp, and this is true. He switched from a 4-3-3 to a 4-4-2 with Nunes and Salah front 2, chase the 2 goals, get the 2 goals, brings on Endo, returns to a 4-3-3, protects the lead, then ends the game with 2 right backs with Bradley coming on for Salah. Slot's game management for that game was fantastic. It wasn't the best game. Brighton, difficult game. Brighton played some incredible football. I think they took points off Arsenal. They beat Tottenham when they were 2-0 down. Brighton are one of the best teams in the Premier League. They play some of the best football and they can go toe-to-toe with a lot of top teams technically, athletically. They're a fantastic team and Slot didn't quite get it right in the first half, but he made these adjustments. And then when he got into a winning position, he was like, I don't know if he knew that City were dropping points, but he known Arsenal's dropped points and he knew he needed those 3 points. And he sort of then brought Bradley on. He made all the right calls, all the right substitutions, brought Endo on. And I think Slot got it spot on. And I think Slot, and I don't know how to say this, but I think he does deserve a lot more respect from people because I remember everyone was bantering Liverpool because they didn't get Alonso, they didn't get Aaron, they got Slot. Although I always said from like a logistical standpoint, Slot made the most sense in terms of inheriting a Klopp side. Alonso and Amarin would need more signings than Slot to fit their style. I think Slot was the most similar. And I think when I looked at it from more of a rational perspective rather than the reactionary perspective, I wasn't sitting there lulling Liverpool. I know a lot of the other rivals were lulling Liverpool, but I actually said, I think Slot's going to be a good appointment. And I think Slot is showing that. And I think too many people in the punditry space and online didn't get Amarin, didn't get Alonso, low Liverpool. I think there was a lot of disrespect on Slot, but when you looked at the stylistics, Slot really suited what Liverpool needed. Now, we're going to dive into the game. I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about the players. I want to talk about performance. I was just talking about a title race there. But I do think there's more to come from Liverpool. I don't think they're at the best. And I do think they might now invest in January because I don't know if Liverpool are going to win the league because Liverpool were sort of top of the league and they took it into March and then they dropped off because I just think they burnt out because I think they were overperforming a little bit under Klopp to stay up with City and Liverpool. And I thought the standard of the Premier League, the title race last season was incredible. But I do think that City aren't good and Arsenal were pretty poor. Obviously, Arsenal had injuries and stuff, but Liverpool have had players missing. They don't have Alisson, Konate may be out. They've had players injured. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I thought in this game, Liverpool did enough to win. The 1.59 XG, the 4 big chances to Brighton's 1. It wasn't the prettiest game. I thought Brighton were incredible in that first half, but come the second half, Liverpool did enough to win that game. They deserved to win that game. You have to give it to Liverpool. I thought they could have made it 3-1. I think Jones near the end could have potentially scored. So this was the Liverpool lineup. I'm going to just go through my thoughts. I have to say, Brighton have some really talented players. I'm a big fan of a lot of those Brighton players, but Salah, we're going to talk about him, inevitable. I don't think Gravenberch had his best game defensively, but he's just a good player there. McAllister and Szoboszlai did not have their best games. I think that was where Liverpool struggled a bit in midfield today. And I think Diaz was sort of playing as a 10 and Jones was playing as an 8 and Gravenberch as 6, and I think it looked a lot better. Kelleher does what he needs to do. Tsimikas, very good. Trent wasn't impressed with him in the first half. Thought he was quite good in the second half. Made a lot of tackles. Thought he had a very good second half. Nunes just runs and works. Gakpo can score. And I think when you need a goal, Gakpo and Salah are two players that you put them in the right positions, they'll score. I know Gakpo's been a bit hit and miss at Liverpool, but there's quality there. You know he can get goals from PSV, Netherlands. He's now playing as a left winger. He's being utilised correctly. Obviously, Salah's another one. So my general thoughts on the game was I was really impressed by Brighton in that first half. And I was thinking, I was literally sitting there as a Man United fan like, oh my, because City went 2-0 down, Liverpool were 1-0 down, and Arsenal lost. And I was like, yeah, Amarin title charge. I didn't actually say that. Man United are nowhere near the title. But if we can beat Chelsea, at least we're top 4 could be somewhat realistic. I don't think Man United are going to get top 4. But it wasn't pretty, but with Arsenal City dropping points, this was Liverpool's moment. This was Liverpool's moment to say, F you to the pundits, F you to the people doubting them. That was Liverpool's moment to say, they're up there, they're at the top. And I think Liverpool fans could not care if that performance was good, could not care if that performance was bad. If your rivals are dropping points, you want 3 points, whether you play good, whether you play bad. And I think in the second half, you did play good. And I think you did enough to get the 3 points. And I was just thinking how this title race was so wide open. I blink. Liverpool scored 2 goals. The Salah goal was fantastic. That reminded me of Salah in one of his earlier seasons at Liverpool. It was a fantastic goal. And that's what Mo Salah brings. Because I think people get frustrated with Mo Salah because sometimes he can have an off game where he doesn't influence the game. But no matter how bad Salah is, if it's 1-1, if I'm Arne Slot, I would forever keep Salah on the pitch because he just needs a moment and he could do something like that. But the most impressive players to me were the substitutes. Tsimikas impressed me. Curtis Jones and Joe Gomez impressed me. Also, Salah really impressed me today. I think the substitutes and the impact they made, because I think Konate has been Liverpool's second best player this season. It was really, really good from the second half from Liverpool. And I think, Brighton are a good team and people need to forget that. Like Liverpool may have narrowly won and Brighton may have made it difficult for them, but I think Brighton are a really, really good team. Brighton are one of my favourite teams to watch. I can't lie. I want to talk about Van Dijk because Liverpool's defensive and attacking numbers are the best in the league this season. I think Tottenham are just behind Liverpool for attacking numbers. I actually think Tottenham are a lot better than people think this season. But Van Dijk, 0 goals, 0 goals, 0 goals, 1 goal, 0 goals, 1 goal, 0 goals, 1 goal, 2 goals, 1 goal. Van Dijk's been having a fantastic season this season so far. I think because Van Dijk, everyone knows sort of that he is a top quality defender. It gets slept on a bit, but Liverpool have had the best defence in the league. Forest, Murillo, and I'm not going to try and pronounce the other guy's name, Malinka. I think Forest and Liverpool defensively have looked the best. I think they also have the 2 lowest XGs conceded in the league. I think Fulham are also up there weirdly as well. But let's talk about Curtis Jones, because I think Curtis Jones is very, very heavily disrespected. And I think him and Joe Gomez were really, really good today. And I think Curtis Jones, I can understand frustrations because he can hold on to the ball a little bit too long. But I always see Liverpool fans slandering him and hating him. And I think Curtis Jones, he might not be the kind of guy that's going to start week in, week out for you. But in these bigger games where you're going to come up against the press and a better team, I think Curtis Jones' importance was shown today. I think Jones and Gomez were fantastic. And I think Jones is one of those players that I think, and I find this with a lot of clubs, sometimes the academy player, the English player, sometimes gets a bit more stick. Like, people will be a lot quicker to give Saka stick at Arsenal or Rashford stick at United and Jones stick at Liverpool than maybe certain other players. I personally find that. And I think McAllister, in terms of his talent, is one of Liverpool's best midfielders. I think if Liverpool got Subamende in and they got Subamende, Gravenberch, McAllister midfield free, that'd be incredible. But I think the last 2 or 3 games, McAllister having been probably Liverpool's best player last season, Jones has impressed me a lot more than McAllister. I think Jones is really trying to make a point at Slot. And I think Jones excels in his ability at retaining the ball under pressure. He can make those smart passes. Yes, he can hold on to the ball a little bit too long. But his ball retention, his ball carrying, his ability to keep the ball and want the ball and be comfortable on the ball against the press, uses his body to turn, is a very good trait to have. And I think his underlying numbers put him in the top 1% of midfielders when it comes to ball retention, which I think is a very good tactical asset to have, especially against a team like Brighton and obviously a team like Chelsea. And we saw how good Jones was versus Chelsea. But if we sort of just talk about his passing ability, his carrying ability, I thought he was really good. I thought Endo, those last 10 minutes, absolute monstrous. You know, Endo's not played a lot under Slot, but he was really working really super hard to get that one over the line. And I thought Tsimikas was impressive. I think Tsimikas, maybe it's just me, Tsimikas has been better than Robertson, in my opinion, this season. I generally think that. Going into Joe Gomez, with Konate probably being Liverpool's second best player this season, I think Gomez has a big role to fill if Konate is out for a long time. He's holding his arm. I think an arm injury, I guess, is better than a leg injury for football, but it didn't look good. I don't know what the crack is with Konate, but I thought Gomez did well. I think Gomez has had very limited minutes, and I feel a bit for him because there was rumours he'd be interested in leaving Liverpool because he wants game time. And he's one of those guys where he's not getting the minutes, but he doesn't sit there and complain and make a fuss. You know, Sancho wasn't getting the minutes at United. He had a big strop. Joe Gomez probably just sees that Konate and Van Dijk have probably been the best centre-back pairing in the league this season, and he probably knows there's minutes to come later on, there's rotation to come later on, and whenever he's called upon, and if I was a Liverpool fan, I would love Joe Gomez. He's the kind of player that I feel like you can't dislike, because he might not be as good as Konate and Van Dijk on paper, but he's filled in when Trent's injured, he's filled in when Robertson's injured, he'll fill in when Konate's injured. He was fantastic today. Whatever he's asked to do, whether it's left back, whether it's right back, whether it's centre back, he might not play for multiple games. He doesn't put a fuss. He plays and he performs. He's a versatile player, and I thought he was fantastic today. I think he's unlucky not to score. I think he's like cursed when it comes to scoring. I thought he put in defensive shift, made a really good challenge on Welbeck. I thought he was brilliant today. I thought he was almost a game changer because Konate has been Liverpool's second best player after Gravenberch this season, in my opinion. And Jones and Gomez comes in and he puts in that kind of performance when the stakes are so high. And I think he could start for most Premier League teams. And I think the problem with Gomez is he's a good enough player to start for most teams, but he's not going to quite beat Ibu to being Van Dijk's partner. But when there's an injury there, because Ibu does have a bit of an injury record, I think Liverpool fans should be happy that they can rely upon Joe Gomez to do whatever it is they want him to do. I think he's even played DM in the past, and he'll do that, and he'll give 100%. And that's the kind of player that you want in your football club. Mo Salah's another one, just a match winner. Just a match winner. 15 matches, 9 goals and 7 assists this season. You know, absolute monster. I think that's 16 goal contributions in 15 matches. But that moment, that goal was phenomenal. And Salah will get a lot of stick. He's not always the prettiest player in the world. But in those big games, if you need someone that's going to come and you need someone that's going to produce, you want Mo Salah. He's a match winner. And we get this with Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford at United. And I'm not comparing them to Salah because what Salah's done these last 5, 6, 7 years is unbelievable consistently. Rashford has good season, bad season, good season, bad season. There's a lot of Man United fans that don't like Rashford and don't like Bruno. But the thing about Rashford and Bruno is if Man United are 1-1, if someone is going to make that worldie of a pass or score that worldie of a goal, 9 times out of 10 it would be Rashford or Bruno for United, even if they're not having the best game. And I think Salah was good today, actually. But he's one of those players where there's certain players that can do things that not many other players can do and win a game like that. And that is Salah. And I think he deserves a lot more respect, because the fact that he's been putting up ridiculous numbers for 7 seasons in a row at Liverpool gets slept on. The numbers that Salah gets every season, it gets slept on. Like, if Phil Foden was putting up these kind of numbers, people would be saying he should win the Ballon d'Or because he's more aesthetically pleasing. That's just a fact. And yeah, I thought Trent wasn't great in the first half. Did think he had a good second half. I thought he really improved his defensive 1v1 defending. Maybe that's just me, but I actually think Trent is getting better defensively, and I thought in the second half did well. And then I thought Tsimikas did really well. I don't think people will talk about him because he's not the most liked player at Liverpool, but I think he's probably had a better season than Robertson so far. 8 out of 8 duels won, 5 out of 7 tackles won, 1 out of 1 aerial duel won. I think he put in a defensive shift, created 3 chances. I thought Tsimikas deserves a shout out because he's not, the biggest name in the Liverpool side, but I thought he was absolutely excellent today. And I think, to be honest, man of the match contender, if you want me to be honest with you. Anyway, people, please do go ahead and hit that like button. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football not Alice Talks Football, ECILA Football, because this is my second channel if you're new. I mean, you're more than welcome to subscribe to my main channel, Alice Talks Football. I'm so close to 100,000 subscribers, and I will be doing a Chelsea-Manchester United watch along on there tomorrow. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let's hope that Liverpool do not win the league title, though. Fingers crossed that, I don't know, Nottingham Forest can win it or Man United can win it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.